Hi, folks. Welcome to another Science Sunday. And you may be wondering why we're looking down into this kind of mixing bowl full of slightly ominous blue stuff. This ominous blue stuff is Oobleck. If you're familiar with the story of Bartholomew and the Oobleck by Dr. Seuss, that's where this stuff derives its name from. It's what's known as a non Newtonian fluid, and it's a good sensory exploration of how pressure changes matter. It's especially fun for little kids because it involves a very tactile experience, and I personally just enjoy it because it's also a fun color. So to make Oobleck, which I did off camera because it takes a little while and some back and forth, you need cornstarch, water, and food dye. The food dye is entirely optional, but just so you know, everything in here is non-toxic. And when I'm messing with it, the reason I'm wearing a glove is I just don't want to get it on my hands so much. Cleanup is super easy. Just water and soap will clean it up as well. To dispose of it, you're going to want to just put it in the trash because it may clog drains if there's too much of it or if it's not thinned enough. So to make it, we take 2 parts cornstarch to 1 part water, and you mix it together. You put the food dye in the water so that it's a little bit easier to mix together, and you're just going to start mixing it by hand, and you may have to go back and forth a little bit on how much cornstarch you're using and how much water you're using, but eventually it'll kind of turn into this weird slime. And you'll know you hit it when it's really hard to mix at any state other than the slowest possible movement you can make. And now, what do I mean by sensory exploration of pressure changes? Well, you'll notice if I just slide my hand and set it here and let it kind of just sink into the stuff itself, it acts exactly like a liquid. But if I start to apply pressure, it becomes tacky, and then it becomes a solid. And it'll start to break apart and function like a solid. And so it's just a really fun way to get a hands-on experience with the states of matter, especially liquids and solids. And overall, it's just kind of fun to play with. Like I said, it's an excellent sensory experience. A good example of how pressure change works, if you're going to talk about pressure changes and states of matter, is to look at diamonds versus charcoal briquettes. Charcoal briquettes and diamonds are actually made of the same stuff. It's just that one has had an intense amount of pressure applied to it, and that's what gives it its crystalline structure. Diamonds are formed by a lot of heat and pressure. Charcoal briquettes are just a little bit of pressure and heat. And so that sort of changes the structure. And this is what's going on here too, is that by applying pressure, we're changing how the particles are aligned and formed, and then when we release it, they settle back into a different shape. Anyway, thank you for joining us for another Science Sunday. Have a good one.